Good evening, Simon here, Explosive Action. It's that time again, the heavy metal tag for 2024. 20 questions about heavy metal, so let's get into it. So for this year's metal tag, the mantle has been picked up by the Heavy Metallurgy crew, Marty Worm and Alan, the Professor of Steel. They've put together 20 questions that I'm going to go through here. For the most part, I've pulled items to show. Some things I've just left digitally, I'll put them on the screen. But let's get into it with the first question. Name a release that you are eagerly anticipating in 2024. There's a few that are already slated to come out that I've already, because of the Heavy Metallurgy, I've been very lucky to hear the promos for. The new Ornish Pricklick and Colton is fantastic. The new Depygus is fantastic. Spectral Voice, oh my god. And that's all the stuff coming out in the first 2 months. But I have heard, I have it on good authority, and perhaps out on MSUO sometime this year, we should see albums from Australian bands Gutless and Vile Apparition. Yes! Now, Vile Apparition have had an album before, which was incredibly good, straight up death metal. So this would be a follow-up for them. But Gutless, now they've been playing that demo for quite a few years now. I think 2018, 2019, that demo's been going along. And we've had a few little tracks here and there, perhaps, but we have not ever had a full length from these guys. So if that takes place, I'm going to be pretty excited to hear Gutless and Vile Apparition in 2024. Question number 2, Chinese New Year. 2024 is the year of the dragon. Show off an album either inspired by or containing dragons on the cover. Now, we could probably split hairs if this is a dragon or if this is just some kind of Dungeons and Dragons monster that is not actually a dragon, but look, whatever. To me, it's a dragon. Attacker, Battle at Helm's Deep. This glorious, glorious cover artwork where you've got essentially He-Man versing a green thing. It's got wings, it's got a big tail. Sure, the face looks kind of insectoid or something, but you know, we can just put it down to the artist himself. I mean, he's got a goblin up here that looks like he's doing a rave, so he may not know the first thing about dragons, but I'm calling this one a dragon. Attacker with Battle at Helm's Deep. Looks like a dragon to me. Question number 3, what was your favourite album that you acquired in 2023? And that's a key word there. Even when Alan and Marty were doing their own answers to their own quiz, there was differing opinions on what we meant by acquired. Marty went for his favourite album of the year. If that's what you're thinking this question is, well, I encourage you to go check out my top 25 metal releases of the year video to see what my number 1 was. But if we take it as what is my favourite purchase of last year, which could have been a 40-year-old album, then I've got to say I was very stoked to pick this one up, and I've shown it in a video before. Elastus with The Just Law. Many reasons why. Number 1, it's just a killer album. 2, it's in fantastic condition. It is the original press. Is on Head Not Found, that still has the Norway address on it. And very importantly, which is what gives it a bit of a historical value, I suppose you could say. We'll get it out of the wrapper here. Not only is it Head Not Found, not only is it old, but it is Head Not Found number 1001. This is the first thing the label put out. Elastus, The Just Law. Wasn't exactly a cheap purchase, but considering what it could have gone for, I was really happy with what I paid. And I'm not overselling the fact that this was mint. I mean, this thing was mint. A couple of little possible little shelf things here, but it plays mint. Needle drop, silence, it's magical. Elastus, The Just Law, for fans of the first couple of Samael albums because it's from the same period. Question number 4. Was there a title in 2023 that you were satisfied to purchase digitally that is not picking up on physical media? Nope. Question number 5. Show an album that musically doesn't match the cover artwork. There was only one answer to this for me, and that was the pretty hilarious but very clever if you're going to look at it as a marketing perspective. Don't know if he intended it, but it blew up like wildfire just because of this. The debut release from Sacred Sun here. Old mate in his sunglasses doing his holiday snap photo, but the music is raging, sort of Cascadian sounding black metal. It sounds like Wolves in the Throne Room's first couple of albums. Really, really good stuff. He's kept this theme with future albums. That was less impressive though, as this brilliant cover of him in his sunglasses on a happy snap on holiday. Number 6, who was a metal artist that you own the most items by? Now, I'm not one of those guys that has a huge collection of picture discs that represent every Iron Maiden album or something along those lines, or like figurines and things, of Eddie and all that kind of stuff. I don't have the space, to be honest, and I'm not that kind of collector. I don't really like having triples, quadruples, and decorating the walls with stuff like that. It's never been what I'm particularly into, but when I come down to it, I guess my favourite band of all time is Carcass. So the stuff I've ended up with the most stuff by is Carcass. So some of the good things that's worth showing, I've got the flesh-ripping Sonic Torment demo. This is, of course, one of the handful of bootlegs that exist. This is a really, really good one on Surgery Records. Pretty modern one, but actually, honestly, the quality of this sounds almost better than the album that came after it, which is Reek of Putrefaction. This is the first press. I picked this one up, I think, maybe 2 years ago now. Very, very good day that was. Absolutely mint condition. Wonderful, wonderful. Just, the benchmark for all gore grind that came later. Absolutely outstanding. The old Earache Records logo that Jeff Walker himself drew. Just fantastic. And again, like I said, first press. The fantastic Essential Symphonies of Sickness. Again, the first press gatefold edition on this one. Fantastic. Just meat and human meat combined. Look at that nice rump roast over there. Delicious. And yeah, love having this gatefold. So that's another good one in the collection. And of course, Necroticism, which probably, as I think I've said before, on a good day is my favourite Carcass album. Was the one that got me into them, like properly obsessed by the band, was this album. And I can play it any day of the week, 10 times a day, and it's still amazing. So yeah, the first press again out on Earache Records. So they're the records I've got from this band. Of course, I've got all the CDs. Here's some digital shots. And I've got that Best of Carcass CD 2-disc set, which is a little Japanese exclusive. That's a cool thing. I used to have more like live bootlegs on CD and LP way back in the day. I'm talking the late 90s. I don't have those anymore. I do have a lot of my shirts. We'll see if we can show them. I've got this awesome Symphonies of Sickness shirt here. Very simple one. That's actually a pretty modern one. This is, I think it was a tour one. Has the Necroticism style artwork, but the older Symphonies logo. Yeah, this was the 2015 tour shirt. So, yep, happy with that one. This is probably the oldest one I've got. It is incredibly thin. I don't really wear this one that often anymore. I got this one off eBay back when eBay had just launched. I'm talking 2000, pretty much. And there was a seller in the UK that was somehow affiliated with Earache Records in the past and just had boxes of old unsold stock, or sometimes sold stock. This was a sold stock one, and some of the others I'm going to show you were unsold stock, which were brand new. And oh man, that was a good time. But yeah, this is a Necroticism shirt. Love that one, but like I said, it's getting a bit thin. This one I don't wear too much because it's a strange sort of 3/4 length jersey design. It's not my favourite, but it was from the 2008 reunion tour. Got that from the Metro Theatre, which was awesome. There it is there, the Metro Theatre. So I had to get a tour shirt. And this one, and one that I've managed to drop, which is always the way. I got this fantastic red Necroticism shirt with the Heartwork style logo. This is from the 1992 Antipodean tour. Now, I wasn't lucky enough to go to this gig. I would have only been 12 years old at the time. But I'd managed to get this one on eBay at a later date. And I also got this one, which I kept in even better condition, the long sleeve version. Absolutely fantastic shirt. It's the same front design, but it's got the tools of the trade down the spine, which is just immaculate. Look at that. Fantastic. And the same Carcass Tour 1992 design on the back. I have not worn that one very often. A little bit tight on me. It is the right size, but it is a little bit tight on me. So anyway, that's the stuff I got from Carcass on shirts. I've got some other interesting things. I have, get it out of here, one cassette. I've had this for 25 years, the Reek of Putrefaction cassette. So that's the original tape. Plays okay, a little bit wobbly, how's it going? But yeah, it's the original one. And this amazing thing, which I got from Utopia Records, they used to sell a lot, well, they still do really, but they had at the time a glass counter in the late 90s. And in the glass counter is where you'd find all the really rare and interesting things you could oogle at. And I saw this one though. This is the 1993 Australian Heartwork Tour itinerary, which would have been handed to the band members. So this was produced by Modern Invasion Records, the famous triangle sticker you see on a lot of our releases, imports. And this is just an amazing little thing. Like, I am serious, it's the tour itinerary. It tells the band where to be, on what days and what venues. It tells all the people involved in the tour. And the addresses and stuff it has. I'll get to something really good. Like the dates and times of what to do, and the bands that are playing. If you have a look at this one here, you'll see Aftermath. They don't exist anymore. Manticore, Acheron. Now, that's a Bremelin before they changed their name. And then, of course, Carcass. So that was sort of the tour. Again, I said it was before my time. There you go, that's the last day, end of tour. But yeah, I wasn't going to... I mean, this is just an amazing little time capsule, isn't it? Like a little itinerary from 1993 with all of these Australian bands that, you just don't hear much about. Acheron, pre-Bremelin, Bestial Warlust, who were, it still says here, ex-corpse molestation. Like, just a fantastic. Infected, Armored Angel, playing at the Phoenician Club. That venue doesn't even exist anymore. Misery, playing in Queensland. Amazing. So this is a fantastic little tour itinerary. And I'd say I have all the most stuff by Carcass. Question number 7. Show an album that you blind bought in 2023. I don't really properly blind buy. It is pretty rare. I'll at least give it a 10-second, 15-second listen on the headphones to make sure it's not like yacht rock or something along those lines. And this passed that sniff test when I was one headphone in at a loud record fair, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Based on the fact that I already knew of the first album from this band, and this is the Sophomore, passed the sniff test, I was happy to pick up. Savage with Hyperactive, their second album, which is a far meatier, ballsier album than the first one. First album's from 82, so sort of early-ish new album, and this is 85, so just pretty much standing on their own heavy metal at this point. Quite gritty, really good stuff. Yeah, so this is one I picked up probably about 3 months ago at a record fair. Largely sight unseen, but I may have given it a quick sample. Number 8, show a title that you own on more than one format. Not many of these I have on a trilogy, when we're talking about CD, vinyl, and cassette. That, again, space is a premium around here, so I don't tend to keep things like that. But this is one exception to that rule. I'm talking about Encabulous, Sydney death metal band I've talked about a million times because they're so good. This is my original Dark Divinity demo tape from, I think this was 96. I should have looked that up. I think it was from 96. It's, as I said before many times, brutal, dark death metal, Australia's answer to Immolation, absolutely. It is a fantastic demo tape, and I figured this was all I was ever going to have until only relatively recently we have a CD compilation, the Exhumed Abominations, which puts all of their work together, including that fantastic demo tape. So I have that on CD as well. And then, which just made me go, seriously? I cannot believe this is happening, but the demo tape itself, just the demo tape on vinyl, on a very small label called Cladavico Records out of Melbourne. It's got Dark Divinity on side A and the self-titled Encabulous on side B, and is missing the EP, which was Venomous Records, and on the CD here. But yeah, I pretty much do have the Dark Divinity demo on 3 formats from Encabulous. Question 9. Bookworm. Show off a release conceptually inspired by literature. I didn't pull these CDs out as we've all seen them 1,000 times, but I picked Amorphous Tales from 1,000 Lakes, and what became a surprise to me when doing a bit of research on that one was Sentenced, North from Here, 2 Finnish death metal bands, very unique albums at the time. Both of them are based on poems from the Kalevala 19th century work of epic poetry, itself based on oral Finnish folklore. So I knew that about Amorphous, but I was a little bit surprised about Sentence, and now it makes sense, North from Here being inspired from the same folklore. So there you go, Amorphous, Tales from a Thousand Lakes, Sentence, North from Here, both inspired from the Kalevala. Question number 10. Name a band that you would travel a considerable distance to see live in 2024. Now, I could have taken this as like a, all bets are off, I've got $1 million, let's fly to Egypt and see Sarcophago reform and playing Just I and I, right? No. And it comes down to it, I haven't even convinced myself to pay the airfare to go down to Dark Mofo to see bands like Cruciamentum. So the chances of me saying, yep, I'm going to fly to Sweden to see Dismember, are pretty much zero. But I thought about it, and what would be something that would actually convince me to travel a little bit to see a band? And it wouldn't be a band, it would be a festival. And the only thing I can think of, and it would actually be logistically somewhat possible for me to do, would be to go and see any kind of reborn version of Metal for the Brain. Metal for the Brain festivals hold a really dear place to my heart. I think it was 4 of them in the end. I think it was, from memory, it was like 99 through to 03 was the ones that I saw each year in a row. I'm pretty sure they were the ones I saw. And it was just the creme de la creme of Australian metal, mostly in the death metal department, some a bit to the left of centre. There was some black metal. And the whole thing was that it was a charity organised concert where the proceeds would go to Brain Injury Foundation, which was held in the name of a particular individual that was king hit once outside of I think it was a Melbourne, maybe Canberran club, and left him with brain damage. And initially it started as proceeds to the family to help just fund their life, since they lost an income and they had to pay for all the medical expenses and that kind of thing. But it just grew and got larger and larger and took on a bit more of a larger charitable donation kind of thing. So it was a bit of a feel-good gig to go to. They were single day. I don't think they ever did 2 days, which is fine by me. And I know it's a nostalgia thing, and I imagine it would not play out that way, 20-year-old me versus 40-something-year-old me. But yeah, grabbing the guys, going in the rusty metal mobile down to Canberra, which is about 3 hours drive, 2 if you're really pushing it, and just seeing a day full of fantastic local bands. By the end, they were sort of headlining it with an international band. I think Destruction might have topped one of them. Can't remember. But the bands of the day, you were just seeing Bloodduster and Alchemist and Damaged and all of this great stuff. Misery, saw Lord Chaos, saw Destroyer 666. Just fantastic stuff. So Nazul, my god. So if they were going to do another Metal for the Brain, and it was going to be similar kind of lineup, and it wasn't just going to be all moshcore and skater kids with their hats backwards, then I would definitely go see Metal for the Brain. Question number 11, Sour Grapes. Showa 2023 release you enthusiastically purchased, but eventually lost interest in. I would say lost interest in is a bit harsh, but I definitely haven't returned to it in the latter half of this year. And that would be And Oceans, As in Gardens, So in Tombs. It is a good album. It's quite different from their first 2 albums. I know it was painted as a return to form and that kind of thing, but not really. It's like a third era of the band, that and the album before it, but it's kind of brutally heavy and quite relentless when you compare it to something like their first album, which was really quite lush, and is something that I still keep putting on, but the latest one, it is borderline too clinical for my tastes. I still enjoy it. It's got great riffs, the songs are good, but gotta say there's been more ugly and nasty stuff the second half of this year that's grabbed my attention. But, I'll probably pick it up again sometime this year and give it another spin. Question number 12, The Golden Child. Name an artist that you feel can do no wrong. This is pretty easy for me, seeing as the amount of times I've been pimping the guy, and I can't even say his name. It's the Swedish guy, whose name I cannot say, down here. He's been in, and is in, so many fantastic bands, and everything that he puts out, I'm like, yep, another banger. Ars for Mu, Azela Sasath, I think is how you say that one, Bray, Demon Mantic, Guardgaster, Nipalahan, Grieve, Iniquitatum, Insict, Mushmahu, Muvitium, Mystic, Natafard, Summon, Trolldom, Tyranny, Urchaos, and there's more. And there's some of those are the ones that he also blends and works on with Alex Poole, who, you know, if you have a look at that video, I've got an entire tub dedicated to basically their combined works, because they're very similar styles. And yeah, but yeah, the Swedish man whose name I can't say, everything he does, spun gold. Question number 13, Overstayed, welcome. Name a band that you wish would have quit when they were ahead. I don't like being negative about bands, and I could have just gone, Metallica. But to be honest, 72 Seasons was a piece of crap. Had one good song, the song they led off with, and then everything else was just garbage. But the two before it, you could combine the best tracks from those two albums and have a pretty decent speed metal album. Like, yeah, with some hooks and decent melodies. So no, I'm not a everything Metallica's done since 1989 has been shit kind of guy. I can find a lot of good stuff in the later era. But yeah, a band that really disappointed me because I thought they were just heading for the stars in terms of trajectory, and I was listening to their stuff and I was really, really into their stuff at the right time. That was Opeth. I think I'm in a bit of a minority, but I think Ghost Reveries is my favourite from the band. I know a lot of people are more like, you know, Morning Rise or My Arm's Your Hearse, and they're great, but I found there's so many interesting things happening on Ghost Reveries, and Watershed, the one that came after it, was just a teeny not as good, my god, as Ghost Reveries, but it was still a really good album. And then they started huffing the 1970s folk prog and stopped doing the growls, and it's been like that ever since. It's become your dad's music. It's become the LPs you find at the record fair that the guys with the great big bushy grey beards are fighting over. They've got pictures of sunrises and horn and like pipes with smoke coming out of them and like big leafy forests, and that's what Opeth do now. Heritage onwards, and no thank you very much. Question number 14. Show a band or release that you bought in 2023 as a direct result of watching someone's YouTube channel. Few of these, I think, but the one that immediately came to mind was one that happened very early on in the year. I was watching Jeff from Mendicant Media's 2022 roundup video, his favourites of the year, and this one jumped out at me as something I needed to check out, and I picked it up in January 2023, which was Putrefaction Sets In, Repugnant Inception of Decomposing Paroxysm. Yes! Great title. I mean, obviously getting grind here, gore grind a bit too. International band here. It's like equal parts Nazum and Regurgitate. That's essentially what you're getting. It's got that speed and the sort of precision of Nazum and a lot of that D beat, and feels like it's political, but then it's got just the gory vocals and the slimy nastiness of Regurgitate. And it's made up from Brazilian, US, and Swedish members. So yeah, this is a great thing. So thanks, Jeff, for recommending it. And yeah, Putrefaction Sets In. Really good album. Question 15. Show us an otherwise good album that ends up suffering from being too long. This is a band I've not really talked about too much on my channel. It doesn't really fit the theme, so I've not really brought them up. It's a band called Seven Spires, and I think a few people might be going, really? You like that band? Yeah, I do, actually. They're a US... they're power metal, but they're also sometimes sort of melodic-y death metal. They've got a bit... they've got a whole... sort of puffy jackets and pirates kind of theme going on there without being yo-ho-ho pirates. Like, I mean, your romantic style, that kind of thing. But why I like this band is the absolutely astounding vocals from Adrienne Cowan, who is a fantastic vocalist, and she goes from the, like, proper cleans. I'm talking, you know, like Floor, that kind of stuff. From your Floor Johansson, that kind of level of vocals, and then into the death growls, and she can go raspy Shagrath black metal vocals, and she can go deeper growls. She's all over the map, and she is a fantastic vocalist. The music on here is fantastic too. Problem with this album, Gods of Debauchery, it's 77 minutes long and is 16 tracks. And it's nothing I can look at and just say, yeah, you need to just cull the last 5 or something. There's the band there with Adrian in the middle. Because there's no particularly bad tracks. I just think they should have held on to a bunch. Because 77 minutes? I mean, like 2 minutes more, and you're first of all, you've exceeded the length of a normal CD. You're now getting close to the length of an extended CD, which is 80 minutes. Anything more than that, and the shit just won't work. So, 77 minutes. I do find myself getting a little tired of this style by track 10, and there's 6 more to go. So, yeah, bit of editing. Save some tracks, put them on the follow-up album, do an EP or something along those lines. But yeah, it's a great album. 7 Spires, Gods of Debauchery. It's just too friggin' long. Question 16. Show us your favourite band t-shirt. Now, before I moved house back in 2014, I had a lot more shirts than I do now, but things needed to go, and I had some high-priced things that I knew I could put on eBay and get some good money for, so I let some good stuff go. But there were things that I couldn't really fit into anyway, and basically the stuff in my cupboard I still wear. That's essentially it. I don't have a vacuum sealed bag full of things I don't wear anymore. There is just no space in this house for that kind of luxury. But this is one that I still wear, and it's quite old, and I absolutely love it. It fits perfectly. It comes out whenever it's cold, which is not that often in Australia. My Suffocation, Souls to Deny, long sleeve. I love this album. I know a lot of people don't, but I love this album. Fantastic Seagrave artwork on it. And on the back there, some wonderful crowd-pleasing skewered bodies, which is just amazing. And it's got down the sleeves the Souls to Deny text on both sides. That one says Suffocation. And it's a Gildan print, so, you know, it's a nicely fitting shirt. A bit faded now. And look, like, I know others are going to be showing these amazing, like, Bathory shirts from 1983. I just don't have that stuff anymore. I just don't. But this is one that is still in rotation and is, over 20 years old at this point. Great shirt. I love this one. Suffocation. Souls to Deny, long sleeve. Question 17. Share a band that's been around for at least 24 years that you think is still strong or creatively relevant. And that was I had to think about this. There was a few ways of going, but when I landed on this one, I'm like, this one makes a lot of sense. Not only because they're still relevant, but because they're getting better every album. I'm talking about Stargazer. Band that's not done too many things. I think it might be along the lines of 4 full lengths now and a handful of EPs. But that time between each release is just the musicianship and the songs that these guys put together are so fantastic. Avant-garde-ish black death metal if you don't know the band, and they're just getting more and more complex with each release. The last album was amazing. I've not actually heard last year's EP yet. I have to pick that one up, and I know it's going to be an improvement over the album because everyone's been raving about that. So this is a band that if they announced another album was coming out this year or next year, I would be pretty sure it was going to be excellent because the band just keeps getting better. Stargazer. Question 18. Share your favourite band mascot. Now, like I said earlier, like I'm not that guy that's got Eddie bobbleheads floating around here, so that's not going to be the answer. And I had to think about this for a bit. When I landed on this one, I thought that's pretty good, I think, because I enjoy seeing where he's put in all the album covers, particularly the vintage ones. I'm talking about Sodom's Narrenhines. That is the gas mask dude that shows up on Persecution Mania, Agent Orange. Pretty sure that's him on this one as well. A lot of the later albums, which I don't own, but he shows up in all of them. I think that's a pretty cool mascot to have, the gas mask military guy, and fits in completely with their Agent Orange motif, I suppose, their design. So yeah, I think that's my pick. Sodom's Narrenhines. Question 19. Grab bag. Share a random pull from your collection. No peeking. So this I did the same as last year's one. I'd load up the Discogs app on my phone, give it a shake, and this is what it picked. And I was pretty happy with the choice. This is Hellstar Nosferatu. Man, what a cracking little slab of power metal, heavy metal, speed metal, whatever you want to call it. It's just fantastic metal, this one. Not too sure what year this is from. It's Road Racer Press. It'd be like, 88 or something along those lines. But yeah, This is probably most people's favourite Hellstar album. I think if you were going to ask 10 people, you would probably get this for 7 out of 10. And with good reason, because it's just a fantastic metal album. So yeah, nice one, Discogs. Hellstar, Nosferatu. And lastly, number 20, show an album from a metal band that others may not consider metal. And yeah, you could have picked your Rainbows or whatever, that kind of thing. But that's not my history. Like, I can't argue for that kind of thing. What I can argue for is something that I bought when it came out, and I just assumed it was metal because it sounded pretty grindy to me, and grindcore is considered metal if you believe the Oracle. But this band is not on Metal Archives. They have been excluded. But with this particular album, Dillinger Escape Plan, Calculating Infinity. This is just Relapse Records doing sort of nasty... I mean, what did the band call it? They called it mathcore, which, what the hell is that? It means nothing. But this thing is so angry. It was... to my ears at the time, it was sort of... It had enough blasting and speed that I threw it in the grindcore basket, because Relapse and, Inhale, Exhale, Nazem was just coming out at the same time, and it was just all of the same flavour to me. Yeah, I can see it's not particularly grind, and if you really want to split hairs, it's probably closer to hardcore, which is why it's not on Metal Archives. But this album is just so utterly rabid, and it's got all the instruments that you need to be metal. It's got double kick drums, it's got all the stuff that I would relate to a grindcore band, but, it doesn't follow the exact formula of grind. Dillinger Escape Plan, Calculating Infinity. What do you think about including that one as a metal album? And that is the 20 questions and my answers to those questions for the Metal Tag. Thanks to Alan and Marty for taking up the gambit this year and coming up with the questions. Very enjoyable. I hope you guys enjoyed my responses. Make sure you check out so many of the other response videos that have been up before mine. People were very eager to get these ones up this year. So yeah, very cool. And I'll see you guys in the next Metal Tag in 2025. Thanks for watching. See you next time.